Hey guys, welcome back to Brick System Brothers. Let's talk about Lego colors for a little bit. So, not a lot of history this time. I just want to cover some of the main color groups and just kind of mention that collecting 2x4 Lego bricks in all of the Lego colors produced is kind of a niche thing that some hobbyists do. I found a couple different people on Flickr that post their 2x4 color collections, and there's actually a couple colors that are harder to find than you would think. I think dark brown was still not officially released in 2x4 brick. Of course, it's available in a lot of different other Lego pieces, but yeah, you start looking at some of the more recent colors. There's maybe only one or two sets that have a 2x4 in some of our newer colors, but most of our basic groups pretty well represented. Of course, the 2x4 part number 3001 is one of our earliest brick designs. You might argue it is the earliest because Lego based their original brick design on the Kittycraft 2x4. A lot of history to go into there for another day, but this was the brick that kicked off our HueTap series, so way back in the early days of our channel, over a year and a half ago now. So kind of a special Lego piece in the hearts of a lot of Lego fans. So it would make sense that, you know, this is the one you would kind of want to amass a color collection in. It's very representative of the Lego system. So yeah, let's dive into our color groups here. We've got our kind of grayscale all by itself, and those have two older grays, and then our modern grays, black and white. And then there's our primary color groups, red, blue, and yellow. So those three here have kind of been around for forever. And then our greens actually have quite a large family now. Browns and kind of natural colors are getting pretty well represented. Pinks and purples really being improved with the Friends line out in 2012. And then different variants and transparent colors are also all available as Lego colors. So my specifically 2x4 color collection, nothing really, I mean, it's nothing to sneeze at, but it's not nearly complete, even in terms of colors that are available in 2x4 kind of as a regular piece, and not even that hard to find. So maybe the most obvious gap here is the dark blue. So just as kind of a reference, I do have a 2x2 dark blue that we could look at to compare. This is also known as earth blue. So I think the blue color family as a group is one of the largest color families that Lego has produced individual colors for, and some of these are actually really not all that distinct. So our current light azure sky blue color is actually very similar to the retired Marisk blue that we saw in a couple sets, like the Marisk cargo container ship, the Marisk train. All use this distinctive blue that is actually not produced anymore. So several colors that have kind of been in and out. Our teal was out for a long time and just recently was brought back into the Lego system. The teal 2x4 brick was originally, I think, only found on pick-a-brick walls in the Lego store, and is now starting to become available in official sets. So this teal 2x4 is actually one of the original ones that would have been in a pick-a-brick wall. Another one that would have been next to this in that early pick-a-brick wall is this light violet color, and this color has also been retired for a while. So this one may be harder to find than the teal now, but at one point those were kind of both pretty exclusive to certain regions. Some other colors that I don't have on here as 2x4s, but definitely need to mention, are the wide range of transparent Lego colors. So I've got quite a few of these in our 1x2 brick. There is a gap here for our regular transparent orange. That's actually pretty well represented in other families of parts, like our 1x1 plates, or round plates in general. You know, those little headlight pieces, we actually have quite a few pieces with that orange color. Still haven't found a 1x2 brick, and another note, these are all the hollow variety or variant of the mold, so there's actually not a secondary support bar in those. And that's just to kind of help maintain that transparency, so that if you do want to use these as a window or something, you could look all the way through. So one thing to note about some of these transparent colors that's really neat, I've got the lights down a little bit so that I could show you guys how under ultraviolet light some of these colors actually have a really interesting effect. So we'll get that ultraviolet on here, and as I pass over our row of 1x2 transparent pieces, you might notice a few of them reacting more than others. And that's going to be this medium transparent blue, our ultraviolet orange, and our neon green, really glowing brightly under this ultraviolet, or black light as it's called. So I don't think that's a coincidence. I think there's definitely some intention behind making these colors glow like that. And a lot of people know about the neon green and neon orange. I didn't actually know about this medium blue one for a while. I think it just happened by chance one day. I was messing around with the black light and happened to notice that this certain blue color actually glows quite brightly under UV. So just kind of arrange these here as something that could maybe flow left to right. The blues kind of blending into the purples and the reds here, and then that going into our orange, yellow, and green. And like I just showed, some of these actually do have that ultraviolet aspect. So that's pretty cool, and that has been put to use in a couple of promotional things. Not really aware of that being utilized widespread in anything else besides marketing material. So that's our transparent. And I think these are definitely harder to find as 2x4 bricks, but the two that I have on here are some of our old clear ones. And these are actually, you could consider these almost vintage because they're starting to get a little warpy, and this older yellowish clear color, they actually had to replace their plastic type because that was yellowing was kind of a problem. So let's do a little closer look at our gray variants. Now these dark gray and light gray were the original two colors available, and that went on from the 60s and 70s all the way into the 2000s. So these grays are kind of the original Lego grays. All of our classic space uses this light gray. So if you meet a classic space builder who's really a purist, they'll only want to use this lighter gray color. Our new variants that are current are denoted by the bluish, so dark bluish gray and light bluish gray. Even though there's not necessarily a lot in common with blue, side by side you could definitely say that there's more of a bluish tint to these grays. They're just not as maybe sandy as our other ones. So kind of sandwich those between the white and the black. This is our current extent of grayscale pieces. There is an additional color between light gray and white that isn't generally available to the public, but it is used, I think, sometimes in Legoland molds. So I was able to buy a couple of these light gray clips on Bricklink once. They pop up every once in a while. It is another known Lego color, but it isn't really used at all in Lego sets. So let's go down here and look at our pinks briefly. I have this color pink as a 2x4 brick. The other two, I probably have the center pink somewhere, but I don't have it on the board here. And then this, almost an orange color, is our new coral. So that's been used in Lego Movie 2 sets, Friends sets, that kind of thing. It's starting to actually appreciate a wider range of Lego parts. So that's always cool when we get a new color. We want to see that used kind of in as many elements as possible so that you could start incorporating that as a secondary color scheme, or even as a primary color scheme, depending on if we have enough pieces in the range to do it. But yeah, when you look at this compared to pinks, it looks orange. When you look at this compared to oranges, it looks pink. So kind of halfway in between there. Orange pink color, like it's called coral, salmon, a couple different colors there. But yeah, definitely an interesting addition. I think it goes really well with our teal. This coral pink and our classic teal both have been used as colors for a coral reef element that we're going to see in our new City 2020 underwater sets coming up. Quick note about our sand colors. I do have a sand green 2x4, but I don't have a sand blue or a sand red. So these are really nice colors that could lend some kind of a natural feel to your buildings or projects like that. As you can see, the sand blue is definitely more of a gray blue than our other available blues, and same thing can be said with our sand red, where it's kind of just a toned down red. I did see one mock that I really liked that used a lot of this sand red color. It was like a cliffside, had multiple layers of soil and rock color in there. So here's an image of that. Yeah, I just thought it was a really good use of this color, especially as a highlight color. You don't necessarily need a lot of sand red pieces to accent this model, and it just really elevates the detail there. So especially useful for natural looking builds, and a lot of people want to use this color in modular buildings for the exterior brickwork. It just has a more subdued natural feel and helps lend that realism to buildings and other styles like that. Quick look at our lighter range of colors before I call it good for this video. Our light aqua here is it's hard to tell apart from our white. I do have it spaced kind of far apart, but it is definitely in the blue family. These colors are all a lot more recent, with the exception of this Paradiso Pink, so barely distinguishable from our regular pink stripe here in the middle. I have this wedge plate and a couple of chairs in this element. I call it Paradiso Pink because that's kind of where we saw it used the most, was in that Paradiso theme in the early 2000s. Yeah, you can kind of tell there's a common thread here. Early 2000s being where LEGO started introducing a lot more colors and parts, and that's kind of what led them into financial trouble. And they ended up having to cut quite a bit of those pieces and colors to help them get back from the brink. So yeah, it's all kind of tied into the same story, but just getting back to our colors here. Besides the aqua, there's a couple other ones in this like light spring family. So this one is actually a cool yellow color, and it's not doing very well in this lighting. Let's see here if we can get a little more balance. So it's called cool yellow, but more of like it's definitely in the spring yellow color family. So I would default to saying I would just call this spring yellow with our spring green, and maybe calling that spring blue. A really light blue here is our light royal blue, and that is distinct from our other blues as well. This 2x4 brick in here is a medium blue, so that's pretty well represented. Medium blue was the color used in the Market Street modular way back in 2009, early days of the modulars, and the medium blue is kind of stuck around, so nice to see that still in use here. And what else was on this one? Oh yeah, the pink and the lavender. This lavender just being slightly different from our other purple, and then I think this pink is the same as the 2x4 I have on here. Quick note, there are a couple other variants of our brown. So this is the old brown, commonly just called plain brown, and this is our reddish brown. So about the same time that they changed these grays, this is our old dark gray, old light gray, they also changed the brown over to kind of make that more consistent, and it's a much more subtle difference here, but I've seen it used to pretty good effect in a really large scale MOC by a lug down on the East Coast. I think it was called the Milliard Project. It's just this massive layout, 3 million pieces, and they were able to use these two different color browns to create a really subtle pattern of brickwork on their buildings. And I think that worked well for them because their buildings were so large scale. Even though it was done at minifigure scale, when you start looking at doing buildings and stuff like that, it does get pretty large. So kind of spacing those out almost at random really lended to the realism of their project. Some of our other browns here would be our dark tan, a regular tan, and then this nugget color. We also have a color called dark orange, and no, that's not it. Let's see if I can find an example here. No. There it is. Okay, so our dark orange is just slightly more brown and orange than our regular nugget, so could be useful for some variation. I don't have a dark orange 2x4. The dark orange is just recently added to the part family of masonry bricks, and that was in the Barracuda Bay set, where they used a couple of those just to get some detail. So it's nice to see, again, bringing those colors into more elements and giving us more options, really, as kind of the main result of that. So that's an overlook of LEGO colors. Again, kind of went lighter on the history side and the number side for you guys. There's definitely a lot more to research and to learn from Bricklink, just in terms of the range of years certain colors were available. There's kind of a core group of colors that have been available since the start, like black, white, red, blue, yellow, and then our classic green and tan kind of coming in, and our orange is also very prevalent throughout the 60 years of LEGO. And then some of these more recent colors that are starting to really gain a foothold. One of my favorite LEGO colors is orange juice. Several of our greens, especially our sand green and olive green. Just happy to see that once these are introduced, LEGO does make an effort to try to keep these in the rotation of elements, and new themes we get to see a lot, especially the first wave out of a new theme. I think LEGO tries to do elements in new colors that haven't had them before, just so that those become available to us as builders for our projects. We can start incorporating those, and really just expanding the system collection, filling those gaps, making things complete. So really nice to do that. So again, just the 2x4 brick collection, kind of a thing that I've seen people do. Try to get as many colors as possible with only 2x4 bricks. So not doing too bad here. I've got quite a few. Definitely room for improvement to add in some dark blue, some of our other oranges and browns, some purples still missing, and then that dark brown was also I don't think was produced as a 2x4. Maybe that's different. That was a couple years ago, so I'll have to double check. So hopefully you guys don't spend your life savings on trying to get the 2x4 brick in every color. It's definitely a fun thing to do as a collector, but some of these colors, it's definitely not worth it. I didn't even talk about metallic and chrome colors, so that's a whole nother field with our like silver effects. Our actual chrome effects are really fun to collect and to do those. Like this silver dish compared to pieces like this that are chromed. It's just a really highly reflective surface. We have chrome silver, which is this piece, chrome gold, and the official pieces that are done by LEGO often in high demand. I think there's even a couple people that do their own custom chroming work. So that's kind of keeping the market value high for those pieces. So a whole nother kind of range of colors there with that metallic effect on there. Those as 2x4 is pretty much impossible to find without paying $50, $100. They're definitely not official at that point, so you have to be pretty creative, pretty resourceful if you want to find enough 2x4s to get a complete color collection. So I hope you guys found this interesting. I know I do, and I'm definitely going to make an effort to complete this, but I'm not going to make it my main goal or my main focus at all. I think it's just something that's kind of fun to do on the side. So I'll keep you posted as I get this complete, but I don't think I'll be doing regular updates for this specific topic. I think I could definitely do more videos in the future about LEGO colors. There's just, it really goes in depth when you start looking at the families that are available, pieces that were only available in a color for a couple of years, or maybe only in a couple, you know, like 1 or 2 sets, and it starts getting really exclusive and niche. Definitely more material to go over here, but trying to stick to our basic bricks and basic families. Still ended up with a 20-minute video. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Brick System Brothers.